आपसे सुन के रोमांटिसाइज करना कि वाह आप एवरेस्ट चढ़े, कैसे किया, बहुत tough। पर इसके पीछे प्रेपरेशन क्या लगा होगा? व्हाट प्रेपरेशन वाज नीडेड इन टर्म्स ऑफ फूड, इन टर्म्स ऑफ डाइट, लाइफस्टाइल, डेली आप क्या करते थे? कैसे प्रिपेयर किया होगी 23 साल की उम्र में?
एब्सोल्युटली यार। सो यू नो there is a saying in our field that to go to the top of the world, you need to build a top of the world mind and a top of the world body. So nothing less than that will work. So I, to ये तो बहुत ही लंबा टॉपिक है, but just to keep it short, when I started, I had no guidance, no mentorship, nothing. So किसी ने मुझे कहा कि start running, so I started running like crazy, and then I injured myself and I lost so much weight that my immune system went down, and what I mean to say is I made a lot of mistakes when I was training for climbing mountains, and that's why even if here there is somebody who is wanting to climb mountains in their life, and if you want to train for it, please don't train with half baked knowledge. There are people like me who are willing to help you guys. So get in touch with me. I'll be able to help you. Because जो mistakes मैंने की वो आप ना करो. But
Correct.
yes, what I did was, if we talk about specifically Everest, so there are four dimensions which are needed to be worked on. The first is the physical strength, of course, your fitness. The second is experience.
Hmm.
The third is money. Only three pillars, sorry.
Yes. That's good.
So,
That will keep people engaged जो सुन रहे हैं। हाँ।
yeah, फिटनेस, एक्सपीरियंस और पैसा। तो शुरू करना था एक्सपीरियंस से, बिकॉज सी इफ यू वांट टू बी एन इंजीनियर, यू कैन नॉट just go in a company and start working. You have to go through the training, you have to learn the skills, theories and things like this. So same for mountaineering. There
Hmm.
are there are institutes in India which teaches you to literally climb mountains. Five or six institutes now, the government run. So I did my basic and advanced mountaineering courses. I cleared them, and then after I did them, now I had the skill sets needed to climb mountains.
Hmm.
So I always use this example that in these institutes I learned the ABCD of mountaineering. The goal was to write a book, which is Everest. वो एबीसीडी सीख के, बट यहाँ पे एबीसीडी सीखा। अभी वो एबीसीडी के वर्ड्स और सेंटेंसेस फॉर्म करने कहाँ सीखे मैंने? व्हेन आई वेंट फॉर रियल लाइफ एक्सपीडिशंस, शॉर्टर माउंटेन्स,
Hmm.
5,000 meter mountains, 6,000 meter mountains, with good guides, good people who can teach me, who can show me the right things. So that's where I learned how to form sentences and words out of those abcd that I had
Yeah.
learned. And that's the experience part of it. I climbed around 12 to 15, something like that, 12 to 15 Himalayan peaks before Everest.
Wow.
So people unfortunately know me only for Everest, but I've climbed much more difficult mountains than that.
Okay.
Everest is the highest but not the most difficult.
Okay.
Yes, so that is the experience part. And so the physical fitness part for me, thoda bahut here and there I was doing for my previous expeditions that I did. But if I talk about how I trained specifically for Everest, see, if you want to be a swimmer, what do you have to do? Swim. If you want to be a cyclist, what do you have to do? Bloody cycle.
Correct.
If you want to be a mountaineer, bloody climb mountains. That is the best training. Really. I
Correct.
mean, so keeping this in mind, I took a house in Karjat area in Maharashtra. It's in the Sayadri Mountains, a small town. Uh, and I
Wow.
shifted there just by myself, uh, and isolated myself in a way from all the things which we generally call distractions, like going out and eating with friends and drinking beers and yeah.
Partying, all that. Yeah.
Yes, it takes up. I mean, I'm not saying if it is right or wrong. It is just that when priorities in life change, your lifestyle also has to change.
क्या
So
बात
I isolated myself completely from these distractions, and I spent each and every second of my life. I invested in building myself up physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually up to a level where I'm ready for Everest. So physically, तैयारी कैसे की मैंने? If I take you through a day in my life, which will give you an idea of how the
है?
training
Exactly.
schedule used to be like, I used to wake up at around 3:30 or 4 in the morning every day. And this is very, interesting for me, because even at 9 or 10 in the morning before this, mother used to literally kick me to wake me up कि उठ आलसी उठ.
आप 9-10 बजे तक भी नहीं उठते थे इसके पहले?
नहीं मतलब अगर कुछ काम नहीं है तो आई कैन स्लीप टिल आफ्टरनून. आई मीन अगर कुछ काम है तो आई हैव ऑलवेज had never had a problem with waking up. But for the first time in my life, I used to wake up a minute or two before the alarm, because the excitement in me to put in that bloody work, that became the bloody goal for me. That, and
Wow.
waking up in the morning never felt like a burden. It felt like such a blessing, that okay, I get another day to invest in my in what I care for.
Wow.
So this is the power of doing what you love. That your, even the effort, the work that goes in does not feel like work anymore. It's
क्या
all
बात है ब्रो.
so I used to wake up at around 3:30 or 4 in the morning, maximum by 4, and I used to do my meditations that I had learned from Sadhguru, and some breathing practices. And at around 5:30 at the break of dawn, I used to leave my house. Some days either for a long run, some
हम्म.
days all of this in the mountains. Okay, sometimes I used to carry a backpack of 25-30 kg up on the mountain, filled with rocks and water gallons inside. So I did this for 2 years. 2017 to 2019 was my preparation time. 2 years I dedicated myself for Everest. And in the evening, I used to go to a local gym. The village where I was staying, they have a very nice gym there, surprisingly. So I used to do my strength work there. So stamina
Wow.
in the morning and strength in the evening. And you know, people ask me this question about mindset, कि how did you get the mindset to climb Everest? The fourth pillar was mindset.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So yeah, there is one thing I used to do which really surprises me now. I mean, it was absolutely stupid, but it really made me mentally so robust. There is something called as, which I named, death zone training.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I'm with a disclaimer telling everybody here that nobody do this. Okay, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Do as I say, don't do as I do. So, why death zone training? Because as I said, above 8,000 meters, that area is known as death zone. Okay, so up there, practically what happens is three things: you cannot eat, you cannot drink much, and you cannot sleep. So these three things I wanted to simulate back home for my training.
Wow. Okay.
So I used to do 20-24 hours hikes once in a month. मतलब अकेला निकल जाओ, या तो कोई गांव वाला गाइड लेके, ताकि इफ इन द नाइट समथिंग हैपेंस, somebody is there. I always kept a guide with me.
Correct.
And just hiking 24 hours, no morsel of food, no sip of water, and not a single second of even resting, walking at a comfortable pace with the kind of weight I will have on my Everest summit push day. Because on the summit push day of Everest, you are walking for around 16 to 20 hours. You are going to be doing that, so you better prepare for that. And in that training, this dead zone training, I mentally became so confident about my abilities that even 24 hours I can go without water, food, and rest. This was very
क्या
needed.
बात है
It
ब्रो.
was very
क्या
needed.
बात है.
So that's how I prepared physically. And the fourth dimension, money, which was the biggest struggle, which is still the biggest struggle for me and most mountaineers in India right now. I will start with an example. Okay, do you know by any chance how much does it cost to climb Everest, by the way?
Yeah, actually I was going to ask you that question कि कितना रुपए लगता है एवरेस्ट क्लाइम करने के लिए.
If you
I
had to guess,
I think most people will think it's cheap, but I would think it's kind of expensive क्योंकि जो गियर है, जो प्रोटेक्शन गियर है, जो खाना है, और 45 दिन जा रहे हो. I don't know, मतलब
एक
I would
number बताओ,
I
take a
would
number.
say 10 लाख रुपए.
It takes around minimum 30-35 lakh rupees.
30 to 35 lakh rupees.
Yes, it takes
God.
30 to 35 lakh rupees to climb Everest. It's a very, very expensive dream to have in a way. So,
Correct.
yes, see, physically preparing myself or gaining the experience was all in my control. But this money part at the age of 22, 23 was not in my control, because just graduated out of college and not taken a job in that,
Hmm.
chosen a life, of climbing mountains, and no background in family from big businesses or things like this. So I just went online and I saw that okay, there are these mountaineers who wear Red Bull t-shirts and Mountain Dew and whatever. I thought that okay, I had no idea, really no idea. So I started approaching these brands. Most of them never replied, of course. Now I understand why. And I personally spoke to around 150 companies, like personally. And
Oh my
just
God.
to let you know what I mean, the kind of time that was for me. I used to stay 2 hours away from Mumbai, right? In Karjat.
Correct.
So after my morning training from 4 in the morning to say 8:30, I used to be back. I used to come home. I used to clean my house. I used to cook my food, and then by 9:30 or 10, I used to catch a bloody local train, which is super crowded. Mumbai local trains. Go to these meetings only to be rejected, dejected, demotivated, and completely trashed out.
My God.
Love, and meeting after meeting, my energies were going down in some ways. But I never in my mind had a doubt that I will not go. This is
Correct.
something that people don't understand. It
Correct.
had already happened for me, as you said in
Correct.
the beginning.
Correct.
It it had already happened, and I don't live by plan B, plan A or die. Then plan A will work.
Burn all your bridges. सही बात है.
Plan B नहीं होता मेरे life में. So I had to make it work. So I was trying my best, making mistakes and learning from it. And I will give you one example which will give you an idea of what the perspective of mountaineering in India for general people is. I went to the sports minister of Maharashtra back then. नाम नहीं लूंगा, लेकिन I went to him, and for the last 6 months, I was putting in applications and following up every day, every day. No response, nothing. They lost my application 3 times, and the minister was there at that day. So I requested that can I meet him. He's like, okay, 2 minutes. I went in. I asked him that okay, this is my application. 3 applications you've lost. I mean, is it no? Tell me no. Just at least don't keep me running here and there. Na bol do, it's okay. But instead of saying no, he told me, Parth, sit down. He was holding my application and in his hand and looking, and then he put it on the side and he was like, okay, we don't consider mountaineering as a sport, and we don't consider you mountaineers as athletes, so stop wasting my time, stop wasting your time. You are a young man, you have better things to do. You are fit, you are strong, get into a competitive sport where you can get a medal for your country. We can support you in that. But they don't understand that when you are climbing a mountain and when you are unfolding the national flag on the top of the world, that feeling is no less than bringing a gold medal for your country in the
Wow.
Olympics.
So
You
true,
know,
man. So
and
true.
unfortunately, mountaineering, not unfortunately, actually, fortunately, mountaineering is not a competitive sport. That's why it is not counted in sport, because sport, every game has a competition. It
Correct.
has medals and things like this. That's what makes it more exciting for people to watch.
Correct.
But mountaineering is just competition the with yourself, literally with yourself. आप जो कल थे उससे आज better हो कि नहीं. And when you
Correct.
are up there in the mountains, जब लगी पड़ी होती है, but if you are still able to take that next step, that is the competition. That is
क्या
where the real
बात है.
competition lies. But yes, that was the condition of our governments, of our corporates. Even now, it has not changed. But how I was able to raise the money is I started crowdfunding.
Ah,
And I was somebody who, grown up in a very respected family. Matlab, asking for even 1 rupee from somebody is like, no, we'll
yeah.
bloody die, but will not ask for money from anybody.
Yeah.
But then I quickly realized that beggars like me can't be choosers. So I have to do what it takes and do what is
Wow.
needed. So I
Wow.
started crowdfunding, and to my surprise, people contributed. Somebody gave 500 rupees, somebody gave 5 lakh rupees. And these were people who were following me, my friends, my family, my cousins, my relatives, everybody according to their capacity they gave in.
Wow.
And around 2000 people contributed to this whole campaign. It had gone viral across India back then, 2017
Wow.
18 में. And 2000 लोगों की दुआएं थी मेरे साथ. And that's
क्या
what made
बात है.
me work more hard, that okay, now it's not just me. There were people like some young guy said that okay, my parents had given me 50 rupees for my breakfast today. I skipped my breakfast, but I'm sending you that
Oh my
money.
God.
So when people do this, it's become much more than just you,
क्या
become
बात
much
है.
more than just you. So you have to do justice, and that is why, I the experience was much better than if I had 50 lakh rupees laying down with me. Yeah, agar koi sponsor kar deta, this struggle, this blessings, this connection with people would never have happened. And this, I cannot end this segment without mentioning my parents. uh, when they saw that the whole world is contributing towards my expeditions, they also thought that okay, kuch to dena chahiye is pagal ko. So my parents and my father and me together, we took a very big loan in the end. Around 30% amount was still remaining. We took a big loan,
Wow.
which I'm still repaying as of 2022, 19th October.
Oh my.
Uh, so we took a big loan, and he put a lot of things on stake, on risk to get me to the top. But I think it was a combined effort, and I was just a vehicle. I never feel like I've done anything big, because if it was not for these people, मैं कुछ नहीं हूँ यार. I'm nothing without them, and I owe it all to them.
Wow. पार्थ भाई, व्हाट अ फिनोमिनल जर्नी. मतलब आपका जो बैक स्टोरी भी है ना, वो भी क्रेजी है. मतलब कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि ये मन किया माउंटेनियरिंग तो चल के चल गए एवरेस्ट में. उसके पीछे का जो स्ट्रगल है, आप वहां रहते थे, फिर मुंबई आना, मीटिंग्स करना, ना बोलना जाना, देन क्राउड फंडिंग का आइडिया लेना. अमेजिंग. व्हाट अ ट्रूली पावर पैक स्टोरी.